has been said that the most two important days in a man's life is the day he was born and the day he discovers why he was born. On the first minute of birth, we are no different than this piece of meat. The doctor or the midwife will be massaging the baby. He won't be hitting him so hard, it's not allowed anymore. But we still do it in Lebanon. And the reason why we hit him, the reason why we massage him, is to stimulate his lungs, to take the first breath in life. And with the first breath comes the first cry. And with this first cry is the sign of a new life. Now what happens after this minute, we think it's similar for all babies. In fact, it's not. Or else I wouldn't be standing here today. Yip was born in the Netherlands. His father went to the gemeente to register him. And the gemeente, without even seeing Yip, gave him a proof that he exists in planet Earth, that he lives in the Netherlands, he was born in the Netherlands. We call this proof a birth certificate. And with this birth certificate, Yip can get his vaccination, he gets his BSN number, he's allowed to go to school, he gets his driving license, he opens a bank account, and he goes on with his life. We think that all babies in the world have the same process as Yip. But that's not true. Zena was born in a refugee camp on the borders between Lebanon and Syria. Now her parents do not have a valid resident permit in Lebanon. And even if they had, it will cost them per person $200. But the funny thing is, even if they had this resident visa, and even if their paperwork was top complete, they are forced to go to the Syrian embassy to register the child. Is that reasonable? This family is running away from Syria, running away from the war, running away from the regime, and then we're telling them, go to the embassy to register your child. So she will grow up without a birth certificate. So what if the war in Syria finishes? Today, Donald Trump and the Russians are best friends. They're buddies. So what if the war in Syria stops? How can Zena go back to Syria? She will be locked in the geography she is living in. Her problem is the complex administration work related to birth certificates. Fufu from Zambia. His parents barely earn income. They barely make money. GDP per capita, less than $50. Price to register a baby, $5. Fufu will also grow up without a birth certificate. His problem is economic barriers. Xavi is from Cuba. He has a birth certificate. But when he fled with his country, when he fled with his parents to the USA, and after 20 years, he's doing an HR interview. And the human resources is asking him, Munir, we need your birth certificate. He can't have it. Because in Cuba, these people are wanted, political asylums. And even the process of registering babies in Cuba has difficulties. There's no roads, no infrastructure. So besides all these problems that he have, there is geographical barriers for Xavi to take a birth certificate. 230 million children under the age of 5 do not have birth certificates. 71 million are in India. Half of the children in Africa, half, are born without birth certificates. Half of the Syrian children in refugee camps in the Middle East are unregistered. Every 10 minutes, there is a Syrian baby born in a refugee camp between Jordan, Lebanon, and Turkey, unregistered. Every 10 minutes. So by the time I finish my speech, there will be a baby unregistered. The international community, they acknowledge this problem. And they do conferences, they put nice food on the table, they bring expensive water, limousines to pick up politicians and go to these conferences. They are able to count them, 230 million, and they even label them. They call them invisible children, children that lack the first document ever issued to them. They will lack access to basic human rights, access to education, access to health, access to bank accounts, access to mobility. So what is the root of the problem? Regardless of the obstacles, whether it's economic, geographic, political, lack of infrastructure, no computers, what is the root of the problem? Until today, in the Netherlands, we issue birth certificates on paper. We are in 2017. Africa in 2020 will be 100% connected to the internet. And in the Netherlands, we still issue birth certificates on paper. The problem is with the system. These are centralized systems. That means to access what we call in Dutch a grote boek, a registry, a record keeper. To access it in a centralized system, you have to take permission. You have to fit certain profile to be in this registry. So if we want to have a solution, if we want to do an impact, we need a solution that eliminates all threats, that does not care for the skin color of the baby, that does not care where he was born, which geography. He has money, he doesn't have money. His parents have valid papers, they don't have valid papers. This is the right of every child to be registered. So when we say permissionless, borderless, instant, in real time, talking about decentralized systems. And these systems, they exist today. It's called the Bitcoin blockchain. The Bitcoin blockchain is a decentralized record keeper. It's a public record keeper. Everyone can access it for free. And we can write data in it. And this data, because of what defines the blockchain, a combination of sciences, game theory, economics, statistics, algorithms, consensus networks, distributed networks. This is what makes the blockchain. So because this blockchain is accessible for everyone, APIs. And with these APIs, we can access NGOs, give access to governments, and give access to hospitals. This is what we have pitched in Startup Weekend. In Startup Weekend, we have designed a tool that allows trusted issuers, like NGOs, who train midwives in Afghanistan. They give them scissors, they give them sanitizers, they give them clean towels. They will be able to give them an app that the midwife will be registering this baby. In less than 1 minute. The same minute that he's giving the cry, he has a birth certificate. Now, I know I'm reading some minds here. It's one of my 2 superpowers. And I can read some minds that are saying, are you crazy? Are you going to register this important document? You're saying yourself it's an important document. You're going to put it on the internet where it's not safe? In part yes, and in part no. What we are registering is a fingerprint of a digital document. Just like human beings, they have unique fingerprints. Each one of you has a unique fingerprint. And my fingerprints are different than yours, and yours are different than anyone else. Digital documents have the same characteristic. Technically, we call it hashing. We extract a hash from this document. Because even in the Netherlands that we do it on paper, it is before the employee is clicking on print, it is a digital file. So when we told gemeente Utrecht, hey guys, look what we've done. Say, no, paper is good. We put our birth certificates in the safe of Ministry van Justitie. We're happy with it. So that if someone wants to take a copy here, he has to pay 20 euros, and he has to wait, and at the end, you don't own the original one. You are born, and you don't own your birth certificate. So my second superpower is invisible. I am an invisible man. I know that you can see me here. On my driving license and under the place of birth, it is written onbekend. And onbekend in Dutch means unknown. Now the reason it's written unknown, this is not a typing mistake. And it's not written Kuwait, it's not written Dubai, it's not written Beirut, Amsterdam, or Berlin. It is La La Land. And this is what one time a police officer told me when he stopped me for overspeeding. He said, yeah, meneer, of course you will overspeed because you are born in La La Land. And then I have to explain the whole story for him. My driving license is now broken in two pieces because every time I have to explain the same story. There was war in 1990. My family fled to Lebanon. And in Kuwait, Saddam Hussein bombed the registries of municipalities. For my bad luck, in Lebanon, after 3 months, civil war broke out. Our house was bombed, and I lost my birth certificate. But I didn't need it in Lebanon. It's not a requirement. I needed it when I came to Holland. And this is when I discovered, in 2012, I am an invisible man. So the most important day in my life, the day I was born in, meant nothing for me. But 2 years later, I discovered why I was born. Because I studied the Bitcoin protocol and the blockchain technology with the University of Nicosia. I was offered to do a scholarship. And when I studied this technology, I knew how to create opportunities for these invisible children. Together with a great team, we have designed the app, and we are busy, and we are working. And we have a mission now. Our mission is 0 invisible children by 2020. After 2020, this is an online promise that I'm making, simply because everyone in this room has a smartphone and internet connection. And this is what we are leveraging. We are leveraging blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, smartphones, and internet. And it's not only about those children in Africa or the invisible ones and the 230 million. It's about your children also. We are creating the chances for my children and for your children so that they never be invisible and they grow up to be incredible. Thank you.